accept everything. We accept humanity. Now there's a difference. Give you an example of what we're talking about here. Because we'll get into the psychological aspect, but this is a good analysis right now. In the workplace, two kind of doggone creeds, two kind of natures. In the workplace, you walk past a black person you know, you say, hey, how you doing? You feel that person. You walk past that person 2 hours later, you might greet them again. You walk past them another 2 hours later, you might greet them. You might greet them all day. But that's us. We go by what we feel, and we go by how we feel about people. There's a difference. We go by how we feel about humanity. Whereas a white boy come, he might greet you in the morning. You see him 2 hours later and you greet him again, he might think you crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Now the difference here is this species goes by how you make them feel. So you know the old saying, well, I really like you, but you're not like the rest of your people. That is because they don't feel nothing for the rest of your people. They're only responding based on the way that you made them feel. You might have made them feel a certain way. It's like the movie Bingo Long and Traveling All-Stars, which is a basic fundamental thing in all forms of entertainment in America. They took to the road, they broke off from the Negro League. You know the movie, they took to the road, they said they're going to play white teams. They were beating the hell out of the white teams, and white teams was getting all mad, and they had to go in and start doing all kind of buck dance and clowning to kick their behinds. Because the European goes by the way you make him feel, not how he feels about you. There's a difference. You see what I'm saying? It's always, you can produce a certain way to make him feel. He will accept you based on the way you made him feel. But not necessarily accepting you just by being a human. So they can love a Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan has over and above made them feel a certain way based on his talent. But they don't necessarily like the race that Michael Jordan comes from. There is a difference. There's a difference. So we're just talking about two types of natures. Whereas we, the indigenous person around the world, he accepts you just because you're human. And that is the humane thing to do. So these crews that came in, this particular European that came in, we automatically accepted him because something in the way, something broke down where we didn't have full access on its creation because it was created by a renegade priesthood in secret. And that's what we need to get into tonight also too. And go into this particular science. So what we want to do is we want to go into several aspects of evidence to deal with this. Now, let's get with the evidence right offhand so we'll know, so we can document some of this stuff. Do you know that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is an adaptation of the creation story of the white man? Here's a book called Tobias Curtin, The Gnostics. The Gnostics is an ancient Camite group of Egyptians during the Alexandrian age and during the latter day period of Hemmitt at the temple of Isis at Philae. You had Egyptian priests that translated ancient hieroglyphic documents from Metanetta into Coptic religion. This is a book called the Gnostics. The Gnostics is a black ancient group, which in actuality, this is the group that Paul, Josephus, and other writers of the, especially writers of the New Testament, copied the Gnostics' work on the Gnostic Christ that comes out of Hemmitt, copied their works. And then when the Gnostics rebelled and said, hey, wait a minute, the Jesus that you're talking about here is not the Jesus that we worship, then the Roman government killed off the Gnostics. and took their religion. You see the story. It's always a classic thing where somebody, you got two people doing something. One person takes the other person's stuff and then kill the person off. Well, that's exactly what happened. Christianity is a stolen legacy that was killed off by an ancient group of people that was killed off called the Gnostics. And basically, this is the origin of the New Testament. The key here with the Gnostics is they had a Christ long before the birth of so-called Jesus Christ of 2,000 years ago, which basically was mythological aspect historicalized as a political move done by the Roman government. The Gnostics basically were a later-day Camite group that basically refashioned the same Horus myth. The difference between the Gnostics and the later-day Christians, or what you would call, which is the Roman invention, is the Gnostics said that, as well as the Gnostics, the Hebrews, the Arabs, the Sumerians, as well, just any ancient group. Any ancient group, because there's a discrepancy with all this Sumerian stuff and Babylonian stuff, because in actuality, Walter Williams is right on this one. They talk about all these ancient cultures, but we can't go nowhere and find them. They say that Babylonia was as great as ancient Kemet, yet we can't find up with some little clay tablets. we talking about a whole civilization we can't find. So obviously the white man is making up some stuff. But in so many words, these was nothing but doggone states of the same Egyptian government. So all of it was Kemet. All of it was Kemet. The difference is the ancient world said that the Messiah is to come in the last days. The Romans say, no, we're going to make it come 2,000 years ago. And that is the great mystery that's going on. Sublime mythology makes grotesque history. So we're looking at a person of 2,000 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? That the attributes of the divine Christ is supposed to come back in the last days, in the latter days, which is the god Horus, Mithra, Perseus, Jason, Hercules, Dionysus, Sheba, Krishna. You understand what I'm saying? Krishna, Bacchus, Ha-ur, Raheruka-Hootie, Quetzalcoatl, all this particular one was all the cultures talk about. They talk about the end time Mashiach or Messiah. The Romans made it a historical person of 2,000 years ago, and that is the difference. Now, dealing with this, the Gnostics, in this particular book, the Gnostics, Cliff Tobias actually quotes Mary Shelley. And Mary Shelley, in the book, Man the Monster, chapter 2 of Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein, it is written when Blake was 59. Now Blake is a philosopher also. William Blake is a philosopher also. When Blake was 59 and said, we were of the beginnings of Victor Frankenstein's quest to obtain powers of God. Victor confessed that during the trip to Sanan, a town near the French Alps, situated in the shores of Lake Lenon, and he goes into this thing where, as she's quoting what Victor Frankenstein is inspired, or what he is actually trying to attempt, and in her novel appears the word of the human Asclepius, and Asclepius
Imhotep.
is Imhotep. Is the Greek form of Imhotep. And it's the Greek, and this is the same God that all physicians swear to with the Hippocratic oath. Imhotep, which is also given a remnant of an ancient Egyptian school, a mystery system that in actuality Victor Frankenstein, although a fictional character, is basically a retelling of the same old story of a person that creates his own human. So we're talking about Mary Shelley here. Understanding in these certain occult societies that was springing up all around Europe at the time. And these occult societies that was custodians of different works like your Rosicrucians, who literally had this particular information of the creation of the European left behind by the Moors in Europe at the University of Salamanca and 16 other universities in Europe. They had all of these particular texts. We'll go into some of these texts in a few minutes.